So I started writing on Medium at the end of May. It's now the end of September right now. 4 months have passed and I've written over 100 articles on the platform. In this video, I'm going to talk about the things that have worked best for me in terms of growing my audience and becoming more engaged. I'm going to talk about the things that I've stopped doing entirely at this point on Medium. If you've just joined Medium or you're thinking about joining it, this is a good one for you. So let's talk about it right now. First of all, on Medium, if you want to grow your following, you have to engage with other people. Just like other social media platforms, you can't just be a lurker in the background. You have to get out there, you have to leave comments, you have to like things, you have to read other people's work. And that's the simplest way to grow your followers. I spend a little bit of time doing that each day, and that's helped me go from 0 to 750 followers. It's not that many, I know, but it's just through that constant daily engagement that I've been able to steadily grow the number of followers I have on Medium. And it's something you should try as well. So if you want to grow, you have to engage. And that's point number one. Number two is don't use AI. When I first started on Medium at the end of May, start of June, I wrote a few articles with the help of AI with ChatGPT. And to be honest, I wouldn't do it again. The stuff it produces is generic, it's boring, it sounds like everybody else's content. So if you want to write a Medium, I would say ditch AI. It's not something I've gone back to. It's not something I'm going to go back to ever again. And I would recommend that you do it as well. AI is lame, don't use AI. Number three is about headlines. Headlines in Medium, like every other platform, are super important. If you get your headline right, everything else is going to fall into place. You can write the absolute best article on the entire platform, and if your headline sucks, no one's ever going to read it. So I'd recommend spending almost as much time thinking and tweaking your headline as you do about writing the article itself. If you spend half an hour, 40 minutes writing an article, leave half an hour, 40 minutes set aside to think of an amazing headline to go with that article. And by the way, if you find this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Next, use feature images with people displaying emotion. These are the kind of ones that will do best. They'll catch the eye most easily. If you use generic unsplash kind of photos, they're like elevator music. People don't even see them as they're scrolling through Medium. It's worth taking the time to download really, really good photos from Canva or another platform like that and use those in your articles. They'll definitely catch the eye better, and particularly photos of people displaying emotion, whether they're happy, they're angry, they're sad, whatever it is. If they're showing emotion, those are the articles that are more likely to get more reads. Something else I'd highly recommend is joining a publication or several publications, but not all publications are created equally. Some of them, despite having big followings, won't actually get you that many reads or responses or views on your articles. And on the flip side, some publications with a smaller following can actually do better, probably because they put out fewer articles on a daily basis. So pick and choose which publications you want to go with very, very carefully. If you find one that works, if you find a publication that shares your stuff on a regular basis and they share it quickly, then keep sending things to them. Earnings are often a big bone of contention on Medium. They recently changed their algorithm just last month. I had pretty low earnings when I first started in June and July. I had a bit of a spike in August as the algorithm was kind of settling down. And now in September, it seems to be kind of reverting back to what it was before. But I would say don't worry about your earnings in Medium that much. View it as a kind of revenue stream or a place to experiment and test out new articles rather than a real key source of revenue or income. Earnings aren't that important. You might someday earn a lot of money from Medium, but it'll probably be further down the line once you've got more followers and more email subscribers. So I would say for the first number of months, even that you're on the platform, don't worry too much about the amount of revenue that you get from it. Next, and I've already mentioned this, but Medium's community is really, really good. Not all platforms on the internet have particularly good communities. I'm sure you can think of a few that aren't great, but Medium's community is genuinely really, really good. They're supportive, they're kind, they're helpful, and people will genuinely read each other's work. So Medium has a great community. It's one of the main benefits, I would say, of being on there if you want to learn and get better as a writer. So Medium doing a good job with the community. Keep it up. Of course, unfortunately, there are bad apples in the bushel, and there are spammers and spam bots on Medium as well, unfortunately, who will respond with generic AI generated responses to your articles and that sort of thing. So look out for those guys, block them if you can, report them if you can. They do exist, but in general, Medium's community is pretty good. Interestingly, short form content on Medium can actually do just as well as long form. I don't know if that's because of the changes they made to the algorithm or not, but for instance, 13 of the 21 articles that I wrote in August were under 2 minutes, and they actually did better than the articles I wrote in July. They were longer, they're maybe twice as long. So short form content can do just as well as long form. It probably, again, depends on what the headline is, depends what the topic is, and probably depends on what came before that. If people like what you write, and they're probably going to come back and read even your short form things as well. So I tend to write a mix of short form and long form. Short form 2 minutes or less, long forms 3 or 4 minutes and above. Play around with it, see what works best with you. If you like writing longer stuff, then stick with that. If short form works well for you, then don't be afraid to pump out lots of those as well. And a final point is about pinned stories on your Medium profile. These are the ones that will pin at the top of your page and will be the first ones people read. And because of the first ones people read, they tend to get the most traction. So put your best stories, the ones people are most likely to read, at the top of your profile. Definitely include one that's an about you, so people can find out a little bit more about you. Somewhere you can put your links, your email, anything else you want them to find, links to your newsletter. It's a really good place for that to go. But pinned stories get the most traction, so definitely think really carefully about what you pin at the top of your profile. So I know that's pretty brief, but just to sum it up, if you want to grow Medium, you have to engage. AI is lame, don't use it. Headlines are super crucial, probably just as important as the article itself. Feature images with people displaying emotion tend to perform the best. Choose publications wisely. Your earnings are going to be junky at the start and are going to move around. They're not always going to be consistent or be particularly high. The Medium community is awesome, but there are spammers out there in the midst of it as well. Short form content can do just as well as long form content, sometimes even better. And pinned stories are likely to be the ones that perform best and earn you the most revenue. I'll do another one of these videos once I hit my next milestone, which will either be 6 months on Medium or 200 articles, whichever comes first. So as we wrap this up, I just want to say 3 things real quick. First, thanks for listening as always, and please jump down to the show notes below and subscribe to my newsletter, which is called The Quiet Solopreneur. This is a slightly different thing I'm doing now, but I'd love to have you on there so we can stay connected with what I'm doing, and I can send you my best stuff straight to your inbox. Secondly, leave me a comment below. Tell me if you're a Medium writer already, how long have you been on there for, and what things have you learned? If you're not a Medium writer yet, what other questions would you have about it? And maybe I could try and answer one of those next. And finally, before you go, I want you to check out this video next.